Welcome to another episode of WTF Cinema.
Hi everybody, welcome back to WTF Cinema. How have you been? We've missed you. I know we've been gone a while, and the previous video should explain why. But then I remembered that this movie. The Tenant. You can't go to film school without hearing about, or reading about, or somehow being exposed to this film. It's one of those films that's held up there as an example of filmmaking. And I'll grant it this much. It is well made. It is not by any means a bad movie. In fact, it's one of the creepiest movies I've ever seen. It creeps me out every time I watch it. That being said, when I finished watching it for the first time, I couldn't help but think, okay, what just happened? So I watched it again, and it's still no clue. And I gotta tell you, I may not be the smartest person on the planet, but I consider myself to be, in general, fairly knowledgeable. And I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on in this movie. So I invited all of the smartest people I know to watch this movie with me. We all sat down, we all watched the movie. Nobody could figure out what was going on. And that's when I realized there's not an explanation. Even if you look it up on Wikipedia, it ain't gonna tell you. It's gonna give you possibilities, none of which really work. So right now, I've got my new sidekick out in the backyard digging an enormous hole. And if by the end of this review, I still haven't figured out what this movie is about, we're burying the movie in the hole, and I'm moving on with my life. It opens, as any creepy movie should, with creepy music. This is the soundtrack of your nightmares, folks. Get used to this. It's all throughout this movie. And as any scary movie should start, it starts with a man going in to rent an apartment from Shelley Winters.
What a lovely little doggy. You're Mears, aren't you?
Apparently Shelley Winters' dog hates child rapists. I know, I said I wasn't going to make comments about Roman Polanski and his love of underage poon. But, yeah, it's not going to happen. I'm going to have to point out that he's a child rapist every now and again. It's the only way we're going to get through this. So she takes him up to show him this apartment that is apparently for rent. And these have got to be locks of steel. Just locking him out of the apartment. Listen to how much effort she has to put into unlocking this door. Just... So we see this marvelous apartment, and we get a charming story of the previous resident.
The previous tenant threw herself out of the window.
You know, lady, talking about the previous resident trying to kill themselves may not be as much an incentive to purchase as you might think. You might need to take a salesmanship class. So he goes to visit the landlord after seeing the apartment and manages to convince the man to rent the apartment to him, but turns out the lady who threw herself out of the window is not dead yet. She's clinging to life in a hospital bed somewhere, and he can't have the apartment until she dies. Now what would you do, dear viewer? What would you do? You're offered a chance at a great apartment, but only under the circumstances that the previous tenant, who is barely clinging to life in a hospital, kicks the bucket. Would you go home and wait by the phone and see if they call you? Would you look for maybe other apartments that were vacated in a less violent fashion? No, you go to the hospital and visit the dying chick. While our vulture is visiting the hospital, he runs into a friend of hers and continues this charade of knowing the girl.
Would you do a thing like that?
To tell you the truth, I'm not close.
Boy, he's really raking in the good karma now. The dying chick, upon seeing Roman Polanski, does what any person should do upon seeing Roman Polanski.
You'll have to leave now.
So, being the kind-hearted, caring individual that he is, he takes the dying chick's friend out for dinner.
Here.
Then he takes her out to a movie where she grabs his crotch. This is a classy lady, guys. This is a classy, classy lady. Upon visiting her dying friend and meeting this stranger for the first time, the only thought in her mind is grabbing his crotch in a movie. Classy, classy lady. Of course, it would be rude of him not to respond in kind. The next day at work, Roman Polanski calls up the hospital to check on her. Yeah, is she dead yet? Because I'm tired of living at my non-disclosed location that I've been living for a non-disclosed period of time and would really like to move into this apartment. Is she dead yet? Turns out she is dead, so... Moving day! Yeah, it's not that exciting. Oh my, what a charming apartment he has. And look, from his balcony window, he can see right into the communal bathroom that they all share in this building. I don't know about you guys, but I feel perfectly comfortable taking a leak while Roman Polanski's staring at me. So, possibly to try and get some guilt off his conscience, he goes to the dead chick's funeral, where he happens to gaze upon his future girlfriend.
Simoshu, the Lord is...
Yeah, I'm not letting it go. Now, at a certain point, the preacher breaks off from what we would consider a normal eulogy into a speech that I can't help but feel speaks directly to Roman Polanski.
Christ has ascended into heaven and hath joined the host of angels on high. But not for creeps like you, full of the basest vice, yearning only for carnal satisfaction. How dare you pester me and mock at me to my very face? What audacity! What are you doing here in my temple?
Once again, we're out of time. So join us next week as we explore this psychological suspense thriller by Roman Polanski.
Thank you for watching WTF Cinema. Until next time, what the f***, man?